Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to Introduction to Coral Conservation. My name is Heidi, and I got involved with Ocean Quest in 2019. I had heard that someone had been wanting to work with Anwar for a long time. I looked up Anwar's courses, and I'm from the US, but I flew all the way to Malaysia to take his course. And it was one of my first introductions to actually marine conservation. And Anwar was really a great teacher, but mostly a mentor. He answered a lot of the questions that I had regarding corals. And then I actually was able to work with him on a project in Myanmar the following year. So it has been um, a lot of time with him now. I was yet last year in Singapore with him in ADEX. So I think Anwar has been a great mentor so far. So Anwar is obviously the founder of Ocean Quest, but this will be a quick introduction video that will tell you about who he is and what he does and all the amazing things he is doing.
Dr. Anwar Abdullah is the founder of Ocean Quest Global. He started his journey in coral conservation in 1981. This is built on personal interest as a diver and grown into a lifetime passion, starting with mapping of dive sites and documenting what types of corals thrives there. Witness the first post-monsoon devastation in the same year and begin to research on how to save the reefs. In 2004, he invented and patented the coral catalyst that is used extensively in coral propagation at Ocean Quest Global. The catalyst is the key to a fully organic coral propagation system. Founded Ocean Quest Malaysia as a social enterprise, a platform to drive the conservation to larger scale. Written the first guide to coral propagation manual that is used as training material. In 2013, Asian Dive Expo ADX in Singapore appointed him as their coral reef ambassador. The position is held until today. In the same year, Dr. Anwar introduced the coral propagation system for Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, that they called the Sea Shepherd Dive Campaign. The campaign lasted 5 years from 2013 until 2018 with big success. Ocean Quest Asia is founded and the coral propagation program expanded to Brunei and the Philippines. In 2018 begins the collaboration with the Thailand's Marine National Park Operations Center 3. He is also responsible for the rehabilitation of the famous Maya Bay. The rehabilitation of Maya Bay begins in 2018 and it is completed in 2022. A 4-year technological transfer from Ocean Quest Global to the Marine National Park Operation Center 3 Trang. He also introduces the coral propagation system in Indonesia. Simultaneously, he started conservation projects in Mergui Archipelago, Myanmar, introduces coral propagation in Maldives. Ocean Quest Global is formed a year earlier. The first ghost net removal protocol is introduced. The conservation initiatives of Ocean Quest Global expands into a holistic conservation body. This includes mangroves, seagrass and forestry. During the pandemic, research and development of the education system continues. Research on tech-based coral conservation is also introduced along with development of new strategy. The field training instructor course is also introduced by the founder in 2022. Recently, Dr. Anwar also expands his reach into blue economy and sustainability project in the coast of Arabian Sea through a partner Gabritech and Ocean Quest Egypt. He is the first to establish coral nursery in subtropical Red Sea. Ocean Quest Global now have 2,569 trainers and more than 26,000 trained volunteers at their disposal worldwide, the number which is constantly growing. This concludes Dr. Anwar's 43 years of commitment to the ocean and the coral reefs.
My name is Anwar Abdullah and I'm Ocean Quest, the founder of Ocean Quest Global. I started my journey in conservation in 1981, and throughout the 43 years, I've been mainly working on rehabilitation of corals. There are many sectors in coral conservation. There are protection, there are advocacy, but I choose the route to go into rehabilitation. So that is where I'm based. But then I also involved in advocacy and everything as a founder. Okay. So that's a short introduction about myself. Okay. Without further ado, let's go into sharing the slides.
Southeast Asia, a region of rich tropical habitats, ranging from rainforests to diverse coral reefs. The region is blessed with a warm climate and pristine seascapes. Abundant sunshine supplies the energy needed to grow the reef's tiny coral polyps, nurturing density and diversity of countless living things in the sea. The coral reefs give life to people as well, by absorbing harmful carbon dioxide and then releasing oxygen for people to breathe deep. And just as it provides safety and food for the marine life that depends upon it, we too benefit from this ocean abundance, an ancient and enduring gift from the ocean's coral reefs. However, in recent years, this life-giving ecosystem has come under threat. Climate change and seasonal weather shifts are adversely affecting the ocean's living coral reefs, and with it 70% of all marine life that depends upon the coral reef for a way of life millions of years old. Rising surface water temperatures and extreme and prolonged weather events are damaging the corals, turning them pale, bleaching them white, and bringing catastrophe to the rich diversity of life that needs the coral reef for food and protection and safe breeding grounds. Our once pristine and thriving coral reefs are now dying right before our eyes.
Okay, that's a brief introduction to why we are doing coral restoration and coral conservation. Coral conservation is, Heidi, can you hear? Yeah?
Good.
Okay, right. Coral conservation in general here that I'm talking about is not a thing that I'm going to talk about how to plant coral and things like that. We are going on the global scale to see in general what is happening to the coral reef around the world, what kind of threats they are facing. So I list a handful of threats that I have here, sort of like global impact, the climate change, of course, that is affecting the temperature of the earth, both rising the sea surface temperature as well as creating prolonged drought. And you can see in these images on your left, it's actually an atoll which actually dry out because of prolonged drought. It is 14 months of no rain, and it causes the atoll to dry out, the inner lagoon of an atoll to dry out. And then on your right, you can see the bleaching, coral bleaching that is happening. This one is actually happening in Indonesia in 2016. Okay, so this is the sum of the climate change impact besides the seasonal shift, the shift of season. Warm season become too long or rain season become too long is part of that climate change too. Then we have the ocean acidification. You can see roughly here a short video. Ocean acidification, what it does is it weakens the skeletal structure of corals and shellfish. It causes major reef disintegration and calicoblastic breakdown. Calicoblastic means it is a process of growing the skeleton of corals or shells of shellfish. So the calicoblast is like osteoblast in human that grow human bone. Calicoblast is for corals. So this is what happened to corals in a way that is affecting the coral reef. So acidification is actually caused by acidification is caused by carbon. Mainly is carbon input in the atmosphere that is absorbed by the ocean surface and eventually become carbonic acid. It causes a lot of things change. When we talk about ocean acidification, it's like a fraction, like 0.0 something increase in acidity. So in the pH scale, when you have 0.01, for example, increase in acidity, that scale is a logarithmic scale. It's actually huge, and it causes a lot of things. The next one you can see here, a topple coral head, and this is taken just recently, like this year, after the Typhoon Odette in Philippines, just on the 26th December or 16th December, sorry, in 2022. And we visited this location in April 2023. And the aftermath of the typhoon is really big. Coral heads, like several tons of coral heads, has been lifted out of the water and slammed into resorts and everywhere. So the super typhoon Odette is severe. Okay, so yeah. And then we have also in 2022, 2021, earthquake, and 2014, the tsunami, all have catastrophic events that they destroyed many vast area of coral reef. And then we have local threats, the unregulated tourism, for example. Unregulated tourism means that there is no control over the number of people who visit the reef every day. And of course, in academia, they always talk about the chemical stresses like the sunscreen that was brought in by tourists and everything. But actually, human themselves carries a toxin that is very bad for the coral reef. Say, like if someone urinate in the water, their excretion in the water carries ammonia, urea, and yeah, it then will break down. It will become nitrite and nitrate, which is also detrimental to the coral reef. Imagine if there's thousands and thousands of people visiting a reef each day, and maybe say half of that number of people urinate in the water. You have copious amount of ammonium, which is going to impact the reef in a way that disease is spreading and the health of the coral reef. Then we have destructive fishing. Destructive fishing means like blast fishing, dynamite fishing. Illegal fishing is also If they fish illegally, they will use nets or devices that is illegal. That means it's detrimental to the environment. So it falls under destructive fishing. These are the threats. Then pollution, of course. Island resorts, hotels, enterprises along the shoreline, liveaboard, or every kind of wherever human go near coral reef, there will be a byproduct. We call it pollution, whether it's plastic or biological, like excretion and things like that, sewers, that's going to impact. So that is a handful. There are a lot more threats. There are biological threats that I won't put it in here. Threats of, say, the crown of thorns starfish, for example. I don't list it here because it makes this presentation very long, and it is not enough for that 30 minutes time on Zoom. Okay, so we go back to where we are. So what strategy globally that people use in coral conservation to mitigate those threats? Let's see. So in general, global strategy and local strategy must be taken into account if we want to talk about caring for the reef, whether it's prevention or protection or rehabilitation. But then the bigger picture is about accepting responsibility, for example. Accepting responsibility is that we can no longer, because the main topic of all this webinar is actually stepping in the future, stepping into a progressive future. So if we want to step into a progressive future, then everyone basically on the coastline of tropical countries, wherever they are, where there's coral reef, must accept responsibility. Meaning that we can no longer say, hey, it's not my responsibility that the ocean is polluted. Those are the resort, or those are the hotels, or those are the seafood restaurant nearby, or those are the fish market. No, we can't use this anymore. We can't be pointing. We can't be using this one anymore. If we continue to use this and we go in circle, that means there will be no progressive future in coral conservation. So accept responsibility. Why does the reef degrade? Is it pollution? It's my responsibility as much as yours, because we allow it to happen. Because we look and we blame others. We did not say, hey, we should take action. It's our responsibility. We should do something about this. Then we accept the responsibility. But a lot of people say, hey, it's not my business. It's not me. It's them. So we are using this. If we are using this, pointing, and then we will never progress. Okay? So the first step in global strategy is that everyone, whether it's politician, government agency, NGOs, you and me, everyone, okay, must accept responsibility. Then adapting to sustainability. We've been talking about sustainable development goal and this and that, but what is sustainability? Why don't we adopt it? And on your right, you can see a poster here. There will be a topic on a webinar called Sustainability in Coral Conservation. This is stepping into the future. We're not talking about sustainability today or what we talked yesterday. We're talking about the future part. If we want to step into the future, we must adopt sustainability first. Blue economy. Okay, we want to talk about benefiting from the ocean. And blue economy actually is working in line with sustainability, meaning that we have to think about what resources we are benefiting from and have to maintain that resource in a sustainable way. And that's blue economy. It's not about talking blue economy. We talk all day and all night, but we are not practicing it. Then we are not progressing into the future. Yeah. Educate. If we did not know anything about the coral reef, we have to educate ourselves before we interfere or we intervene or we participate, for example, in any kind of conservation. This is a message from me to most of the corporation who spent millions washing it down the blue line or the green line, whatever you call it. So spend your money wisely, put your investment into a long-term sustainable conservation program rather than just going for once a year program for just to get a press release and get into newspaper and websites and stuff. That won't progress into the future anymore because the future is reality. We can't walk into a reality that has a big ravine right in front that is we're going to fall in. We're not going to walk into that ravine. Okay. Participate means whenever it's possible, since everyone is responsible, then they have to participate in all way. Yeah, maybe you're a non-swimmer, you're a non-diver, but you can participate in advocacy. You can participate in awareness building. Awareness building is the simplest way of conservation. You learn something about the environment and you take that message and teach others about it. That's advocacy. You know, it don't take you to go to the ocean. You don't spend $1 out of that. You can go online and start reading about coral reef and what threats them and how to, or any kind of environment for that matter. Do some, participate and get the message going from person to person. That's the best way to carry it. Participate, get involved. If you have the resources, of course, you are welcome to come to our location to plant corals, do things with the coral reef. Okay. Local strategy. A lot of local people, again, this is about this one. This is a very bad finger. We point at each other all the time because we don't accept ownership. If we accept, we say that, oh, this reef, I benefit from this reef. My job is a diving instructor, or my job is a dive agent or a dive shop or whatever it is. My job. That means my product, the environmental services that provided to me so that my business can run is the coral reef. Then I should take ownership of it somehow. Treat it like you own it. If you treat it like you own it, you protect it. You want to prevent it from damage and things like that. Okay? Take ownership. Get guidance. If you don't have any idea what to do, get proper guidance. Don't just follow blindly. Oh, ABC organization is doing some coral conservation. They go pluck some coral from the reef and they tie it onto structures. Well, that ain't going to happen anymore in the future because that's not sustainable. Harvesting from a pristine environment to multiply any kind of organism or plant, no, it's not. It's not sustainable. So get guidance, get knowledge how to propagate coral, how to cultivate plants, whatever it is. If you involve with environment, it's the same thing, except that diving is involved for coral reef. Then anticipate, invest time, invest because it is, you own it. If you take ownership of it, you will invest your time to make sure that a preventive step is taken to protect your resources that is provided to you for free by an environment that is constantly under threat. If you don't take ownership, you don't get guidance, you don't anticipate what is going on, the threats, you will lose this in the long run. And most of people who benefit from the coral reef, usually in tourism, and they will benefit from coral reef in that way. If you no longer have a coral reef, where do your customer go? Your customer go to other places where it's pristine. So take action. So Once we understand the bigger picture, then we can take action. There are only two actions in any kind of environment. If I go to, say, a place in Raja Ampat, for example, where the environment is pristine, the coral reef is beautiful, it's thriving, it's abundant with life, do I need rehabilitation? The answer is no. I need to protect it. To protect it, I need to assess what is there. Then I have to anticipate what are the threats. Then I have to devise prevention plan. That is the action needed. A lot of people come to a coral reef without assessing whether or not it's needed to be rehabilitation, start a rehabilitation program. That is a wrong place for doing those kind of things. But if you landed in a place like, for example, in Mactan in the Philippines after the Typhoon Odette, then it needs rehabilitation, because if you assess it, there's nothing left. The entire coral reef looks like it has been through a blender, right? So, and then large coral heads, like several tons of them, can be lifted out of the water by Super Typhoon Odette and slam it into resorts on shore. Most of the hotels and resorts along that coastline in Mactan was severely damaged. The Mactan airport, the Cebu airport, also was severely damaged by Super Typhoon Odette. So if you come to a place like that, then the first assessment is to assess how much damage there is and what is the potential for rehabilitation. From this assessment, then you anticipate on the steps that you need to take, including how much time you have, how many people you have in your team, how much resources you have, what kind of support from the local agencies or local enterprises that can help reduce your cost to run the rehabilitation. And then once everything is anticipated, then a countermeasure plan can be put in place. Once we have done all the steps, the action is taken. You know, we don't have to go out in the ocean telling people about they shouldn't be fishing in a coral reef, or that kind of action is just going to bring you into a conflict with local communities and people. So the actual action taken for coral reef conservation should be in line with these two things. What do you need to do? Is it protection or rehabilitation? If it's pristine, you protect it. The coral reef, it does not belong to one person or one government or one whoever it is. It belongs to everyone. Okay. So some people in the coastline, they make a living there and they go fish there. It's a resource that they need to sustain their families. And chasing people away from reefs and stuff like that is not part of conservation actions, right? The conservation action includes assessing, anticipating. If it's a pristine coral reef, you create a prevention plan. If it's a damaged coral reef, you do the assessment, you anticipate what's needed, and you devise a countermeasure plan. So I have 4 minutes left on my presentation. If there's any question that you'd like to ask, please, you may ask me now. Then, yeah, I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, so we have 4 minutes, 30 seconds left. If there's any question to ask, then I will be happy to answer your question. Otherwise, I will say good night to everyone. Yeah, I guess everybody's muted. Do I mute them? No, I didn't mute them, no. I think they mute themselves. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So my my number, my email is on the poster of this webinar. Should you have any question in the future, you may ask as well. Or you have question now, you may ask. Craig, are you there? Did I?
Yes, I just wanna
Yeah.
say hi to Heidi. Hi, Heidi.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
hi.
You met Heidi in Singapore. Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember Craig, right?
Hope
The
to
guy
meet
who sells
her.
merchandise.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of course, I
Are we going to
remember.
meet at this August? Will you be there?
I
Um,
will be in Mexico, so
Okay.
yes, I know, but hopefully next year.
yeah. I want her
Good to
I want her
see you.
to come back because I want to show her the sea.
Well, good to hear you.
Yeah, I want to show her the seagrass, and maybe if we're lucky, you can see dugong. Yeah. I'm starting a
Mm.
starting a
Okay.
research on
Saying
seagrass.
that.
Yeah. Cool. So thank you very much. We are 2 minutes to ending. So if there's no question, then I will say goodbye. Good morning to you, Heidi. Do you wake up just for me, or
Yes, thank you.
it's early in Florida?
Woke up just for you. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. It's not a question. Is there another webinar? Yes, there's a webinar on 2 days from now, on the 9th. And we will talk about opportunities and pathways and disciplines in coral conservation. Okay. On the 9th, see you on the 9th.
Honor, you said on the 9th, today is the 9th.
Oh, on the 11th, sorry, 2 days from now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Bye everyone.
Okay.
Thank you, Heidi.
Bye. Good night. Thank you
Bye,
I'm
so
gonna
Greg.
much.
edit
Bye,
and
Heidi.
YouTube, okay?
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.